What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Roy, accompanied by the legend himself, the Dominican bad man Serge, aka Floor Price Guy. And we're coming back with another UFC card breakdown. We have UFC 307 Pereira versus Rountree. Great card. Floor Price Guy, before we dive into this card, how are you doing, my man?
Brother, I'm good. We got a good card. Always a pleasure doing this with you. We got a great card. We got the old guard versus the new guard. This is exciting, champ.
It's exciting, man. And before we dive into it, I want to remind everybody to please like and subscribe, comment. Don't be stingy. Show the love. Comment up here or over here. I don't know. Where's it at? Floor Press? Get down there? All right, we're going to have it down there. Comment, like, subscribe. Please show some love. Don't be stingy. Also, make sure you follow our X account. It is in the description below. We are putting out content. We are putting out articles. Floor Price Guy is killing it with the articles. Make sure you check them out, give them a read, and let us know what you think. If you agree with us, if you disagree, all opinions are welcome. Before we jump into this card, I kind of want to recap our UFC Fight Night Paris picks and predictions.
What did I say? Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
Cumulatively, we hit 70% altogether, 65% for Floor Price Guy, 72% for myself. All in all, it was an entertaining card. A lot of questionable decisions, maybe. Some fights were closer than we thought. Some people felt Brito won that fight. I don't know, but here are our picks and our selection. We want to make sure that we keep a consistent reminder to you guys watching that this is how well we're doing, our losses and our wins. Floor Price Guy, very quickly, any takeaways from the card and predictions and stuff?
No, 75, 72%. If Brito would have won, it would have catapulted us close to 80%. It was a great card. Great bets, and we learned a lot. And we're going to be sharing this on every video we do.
Yeah, and we'll keep it rolling, baby. We'll see what happens. Kicking off the prelims, we have a welterweight bout. Tim, the Dirty Bird Means, up against Court, the Crusher Mcgee. Court Mcgee is 21-13-0 in the UFC. He's the underdog at plus 190. Whereas Tim Means is 33-16-1 in the UFC, and he's the favorite at a minus 230. Means is 1-5 in his last 5 fights, coming off that brutal left uppercut KO loss to Uros Medic. Mcgee, on the other hand, is 2-5 in his last fights. Last loss to Alex Morano via unanimous decision. I think this fight is a tale of two fighters. You have a striker up against a wrestler. Mcgee, in my opinion, is a good wrestler, whereas Means is more known for his striking ability. Mcgee can, however, absorb strikes. I think this fight at this elevation is going to be Mcgee's to win. I'm going with the underdog. I think he's going to have the game plan of taking Means down to the ground, controlling him that way, and pulling a decision win. Who are you going with, Floor Price Guy?
I thought you were going to go with Tim. I heard you
a lot of surprises, brother. A lot of surprises.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you, I will be going with Court Mcgee, tough winner from the Chuck Liddell era.
Oh, wait, you're going with Mcgee as well?
Yeah, I like Mcgee. I think, and yeah, the wrestler Tim Means good, Albuquerque, New Mexico, but Tim Mcgee is not in the Greg Jackson camp. He's in the other New Mexico camp. Mm-hmm. Very important to kind of highlight that. Yeah, I think Court gets it done. Shout out to Tim. Both veterans, wow, man, like they've been around for a while. I got to give it to Mcgee. Let's go with Mcgee. I think Mcgee takes it. He is fighting from Utah. So, home advantage, hopefully.
Home advantage. He understands the elevation. He trains there. He's used to this environment. And like you said, we have a lot of experience in the octagon. We have a 40-year-old and a 39-year-old. And, the fight is going to be what it's going to be, but I think Mcgee's going to pull out the win. So we're both in agreement there. Next fight here, we have Ovens St. Preux, OSP, who is 27-17-0. Up against Ryan Superman Span. Now, Ryan is the heavy favorite at minus 340, whereas OSP is at a plus 270. Looking at their last 5 fights, OSP is 2-5. He's 2-5, and he last won against Kennedy Nzechukwu via unanimous decision, where he was the heavy underdog in that fight around plus 550. You remember that fight? We saw that fight. I think we we went for the favorite in that fight, and he kind of messed up the parlay, if you recall correctly on that card. Span is also 2-5 in his last 5 bouts. His last loss was via TKO to Bogdan Guskov. Now, my issue with this fight is that OSP, he's getting up there in age, right? This fight was originally slotted for the Sean Brady and Gilbert Burns card. I don't know if you remember, and I think OSP was sick and they had to cancel that fight. I think OSP has an issue with the cardio, with the gas tank, especially at this elevation. It's going to show. He has fluctuated between heavy and light heavyweight. I think, yeah, like I said, I think this fight at this elevation is going to be an issue for him. Span, on the other end, despite losing his last 3, he has good striking. He throws a beautiful left hand. If you see his fight against Dominic Reyes, he threw the left jab and then the right hook that knocked him down. He looked great in that fight. His striking was great. I think Ryan Spann is the pick for me in this fight. I think he's gonna put together some good strikes, some precision strikes, and really win the fight on its feet. He has to be careful though against OSP because he's tricky on the ground, right? He can pull out a submission win. We've seen him do it in the past. Spann is the pick for me.
Yeah, as a Dominican, shout out to my Haitian neighbor, Mr. OSP. Used to be a big fan. Almost beat Ryan Bader back in the day from the OG era. But I'm sorry, I'm going to go with Ryan Spann too. The reality is Kennedy should have won that fight, but he was gunshot. He just didn't execute. Minus 700, which is he should have blasted him. He did it. I don't know what it was, but OSP got it. The veteran got it. The reality is OSP's condition is questionable. Similar to Ryan Spann. Let me be honest with you, champ. Ryan also is a guy with a lot of muscle fiber, and they're both going to high elevation. Champ, we might see a boring fight in our hands. I'm gonna be 100 with you. We probably got one good round, and then they're gonna kind of grapple and wrestle and do all this different thing. However, grappling advantage, I give it an OSP, but I think Ryan takes it. I think Ryan should take it. He's fought quite a bit. I think he'll come prepared for this fight. He'll come for the killer instinct, and I mean, I'm not gonna bet on the outcome, but I'll defend. So sorry, I'm gonna bet on the decision.
Yeah, and one thing that we want to kind of incorporate into our picks is our level of confidence in the pick, right? So if we had to tier this between low, mid, and high, how confident are you in Ryan Spann winning?
It's a low, champ. I'm gonna be 100 with you. That's low. It's a low for me.
Yeah, so that's something we're also going to do towards the end when we post our image of our overall picks. We're going to post our tier and confidence within those picks. But so far, we're on the same page. I have a feeling that's going to change. We'll see. Next up, we have a women's strawweight bout. The ex-champ, Carla, the Cookie Monster Esparza, up against Tisha, the Tiny Tornado Pennington. Now, Esparza is 4-5 in her last 5 bouts. She last lost to the current champ, Weili Zhang, via submission in 2022 at UFC 281, where she lost her title. Esparza is the 2-time ex-champ. This will be her retirement fight. That's important to note and the reason I say that is because you got to think about what's her mindset coming into the fight. What is she fighting for? Is she fighting for legacy? Is she fighting for another paycheck? Or is she just going to go with the motion, right? Tisha is 3-5 in her last 5 bouts. Last losing to Tabitha Ricci via split decision. Tisha looked good in that fight. Despite losing, she was striking with volume, precision, and was fast. I got a chance to watch that fight earlier today, and that's what I took away from it. Before I say who I'm going to go with in this fight, I want to hear from you first, Floor Price Guy. Who do you got and why?
Oh, man. This is a good fight, champ. I got to tell you. This is a rematch. I have to go with Carla Esparza, man. I just liked a lot of stuff what I've been seeing from her. She's looked great. Carla's looked amazing. Her last, it was 2 years ago. Her last fight was Weili. She was the champion. Coming back, I did not know it was her retirement fight. I understand she got married. Maybe it's time, eventually to lace them up. But I think Tisha has not been the Tisha Torres. That's how I know her from, right? She wasn't the Tisha Torres from back then. These two women are getting up there in age, both 35, 36. I got to go with the champ, son. I'll take it. Go with the champ.
And just to kind of piggyback on what you said. They last fought in 2014. That's a long time. Fighters could evolve within a 10-year span. I would hope, right? Within 10 years, a fighter evolves. My pick for me is going to be Tisha Pennington. I think Tisha has a striking advantage and is overall a well-rounded fighter. She will stay in Esparza's face and push the pace. Carla, however, does have the wrestling advantage, so I hope that Tisha does keep that in mind, work on the takedown defense, and keep the fight standing. So Tisha is the pick for myself. Her wife is fighting in the co-main, so I would hope she wins. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, but out of the 3 tiers, what are you going with Tisha? Low, medium, or high to win?
Low, brother. It's gonna be low.
Well, I'm going medium with Miss Carla. Miss Carla takes it medium.
Okay, we'll see. We'll revisit this in our reaction show.
Yes.
Next up, we have a men's featherweight bout. Alexander, the Great Ape Hernandez, up against Austin Thud Hubbard. I don't think there's odds on this fight yet, right? I don't see it. Let me see.
No, there's no odds for this fight. No, there's no odds yet. Interesting.
Yeah, there's no odds for this fight, so we don't know who's the underdog or who's the favorite. But given their last 5 fights, Hernandez is 1-5 in his last 5 bouts, coming off of a loss to Damon Jackson via split decision. Hubbard is 4-5 in his last 5 bouts and last one via unanimous decision versus Michael Figlack. I think Hernandez is a better striker, the better grappler. The only issue I have with him, and we kind of spoke about this offline, is he's a bit inconsistent, right? He has had signs of brilliancy, but I think his mental plays a factor in this fight. How is he going to come into this fight? He's going to be confident. He's going to want to win. He's going to want to have that killer mentality. How does he approach this fight? If his mind's in the right place and he's going out there for the dub, I got Hernandez winning, but my confidence is pretty low. I'm going to probably stay away from this, but I think Hernandez can win this fight. What about you, Flo Prescott?
Well, Champ, let's, that's 4 out of his last 5 fights. And then if you had 7, it's been a little bit rough for Hernandez. I'm not going to lie to you. I look at the odds and I'm just like, wow, like there was a time where he beat Beneil Dariush. We stunned him less than a minute, got him out of there. Oliver Aubin Mercier, which he won the light heavyweight at the PFL as well, took him decision, and then he fought Cerrone. Champ, I'll be honest with you, I got to go with Hernandez. Back at I think he bounces back here. I think he'll go in because he has the wrestling and the striking, and like you said, he lacks in consistency, but he'll put it together in this fight, Champ.
Okay, so Hernandez is the pick. We are in agreement with that. We'll see what happens. Price, what's your confidence in this pick? Because I had said it was pretty low. What do you think?
Yeah, it's low as well.
It's low as well. Yeah. Okay, move on to the next one here. Next up, we have a middleweight bout. We have Ihor Duelist Potieria up against Cesar Cecina Almeida. Now, Almeida is a -425 favorite, whereas Potieria is a +330 underdog. Looking at their last 5 fights, Potieria is 2-5 in his last 5 bouts, coming off of a standing guillotine submission loss to Michel Pereira. Cesar Almeida, on the other end, is 4-5 in his last fights. He last lost to Roman Kopylov via unanimous decision. This is going to be striker versus striker matchup, and when you have these two lined up against each other, I think Almeida is the better striker. Potieria has this weird thing where he leaves his hands down, and it's kind of like Jiri in a sense, where he kind of leaves his hands down and he leaves his face there in the center. Almeida is a bad man. He's fought Alex Pereira 3 times in his career, winning one of those fights. He's durable, and he's the better striker overall. I think the pick for me, he has the momentum on his side, is going to be Almeida.
Yeah, I'll go with Almeida as well. I think I was looking at Ihor's fights, and I wasn't really there, Champ. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't really big.
And before you continue, a lot of people don't know, and if you're tuning in, Floor Price used to box. He's a heavyweight boxer. So when you look at these fights and you kind of look at their striking, were you impressed by his striking? Were you convinced by his striking, or do you feel like it kind of lacked a little bit?
He was very gun shy, right? Like he was very hesitant. Mm-hmm. He'll stand up, 5 minutes and let's say 10 seconds, no strike, no feint, just a little bit here. But then you're facing, Cesar. Yeah, like he is the favorite. He is 36 versus a 28-year-old kid. But the reality is like that kickboxing experience is going to do wonders for him. So yeah, how my confidence is, I would say low, because if Ihor comes in and starts mixing it up and with the takedowns and everything, who knows, right? But this is it's going to be interesting, champ.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think for me, it's going to be like a mid to high confidence level. I think Caesar's going to really outstrike him. We'll see what happens though. Yeah. Caesar is the pick. We'll leave it at that. Moving along here, we have a women's strawweight bout. We have Marina Rodriguez, who's 17-4-2, up against Yasmin Lucindo, who's 16-5-0. Going over their last 5 fights, Rodriguez is 2-5 in her last 5 bouts, last losing to Jessica Andrade via split decision. She's a well-rounded fighter. She struggled up against top-tier opponents such as Amanda Lemos, Jessica Andrade, Verna Jandiroba. She's gotten there, but she hasn't been able to dance. Like, she's gone to the dance, but she hasn't been able to dance, right? I like that analogy, Whereas Yasmin Lucindo is 4-5 in her last 5 bouts, last winning via unanimous decision to Carolina Kowalkiewicz. In my opinion, after watching film and kind of dissecting both fighters, Lucindo has an aggressive striking and grappling style, relying more on her grappling. I think Lucindo will capitalize on that, her wrestling, and take down Rodriguez. Rodriguez, if you look at her fights, if you watch film, she has poor takedown defense. And I think Lucindo will control the fight that way.
Well, I mean, listen, Chava, she beat Carolina 4 months ago. Carolina, fought Joanna Champion back close to a decade ago, Chava. That was a good year, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was
Joanna
a very good year.
She was bad back in the day, man.
Very bad. But champ, listen, I'm going heel here. I'm going with Marina Rodriguez. I think.
We're disagreeing, huh?
I bet she's faced a tougher opposition. You got to understand something, and I'm pretty sure that Jessica Andrade fight was at strawweight, and I'm going to go ahead and confirm it because the best Jessica Andrade has ever looked has been at strawweight. Let's be very honest.
Let's confirm it right now. Let's see.
Because I'm looking at it right now. It was 115. So I'm right. So after this fight, Andrade went up and fought Natalia Silva at 125, which I think was a horrible idea.
We love Natalia Silva.
Yeah. Natalia Silva is. I give you the yeah. Natalia Silva is very good. But yeah, I got to go with Marina. I think Marina still has it at 37 versus a 22-year-old. It's going to be interesting, champ. Marina has a very good. She knows how to manage this. She's aggressive with her striking. She's known for her coach slapping her before the octagon and the what do you call it? The cut man. Sorry, being like, what's going on here? This is crazy. But yeah. But besides that, I'll go with Marina. I think Marina gets it done.
Okay.
I think confidence is low as well. But yeah, Marina gets it done.
Okay. And I think a bet, if you don't want to bet on the money line based on these odds, you could always do for the over 1.5 decision bet, the prop bet. You can kind of parlay that with something else. If you're more like one of your higher confidence level picks, you can parlay it with this and get a little bit more money, a little bit more cheddar. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We are on opposing ends. Once again, we'll see who comes out victorious between us. In eventing our prelims. Once again, our prelims. Wonder Boys in the prelims, if you don't get what I'm trying to get at. So we have a welterweight bout. Steven Wonderboy Thompson, who's at 17-7-1, up against Joaquin, the new Mansa, Buckley. Now, going over the last 5 bouts. Steven Thompson is 2-5 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off of a rear naked choke submission loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov. Buckley is 4-5 in his last 5 bouts, last winning via unanimous decision against Nursultan Ruzabov. Before I go over my pick here, I kind of want to see where you are at first and how confident you are. because we discussed this on the phone prior, and we'll see. We kind of disagree, but I want you to tell us who you're going with and why.
Listen, we were talking about fan, and I'm a fanboy of Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah, as am I.
And then you were like, well, you can't be a fan, and you got to be, and I'm like 100%. But the reality is, champ, this man has faced murderers row. Champ, not only did he stop Kevin Holland a couple years ago, shout out to him. Let me see if I'm trying to. Well, 2 years ago he stopped Kevin Holland. One of my biggest wins in MMA. Shout out to Kevin Holland. Made $2,000 on you. But I gotta tell you, champ, I'm still on the boat. Stephen Thompson is getting older. 41 is an age, but he's been training. He's been feeling good. He's his in and outs, and he fought what is the number one contender to the welterweight division, Shavkat. Champ, like, what are we doing here, champ? And prior to that, he fought two killers. Gilbert, I think Gilbert Burns in that fight was prime Gilbert Burns, and he fought Bilal, the current champion. I think Steven takes it. However, confidence is low. I got to tell you, Joaquin's energy has been amazing. He was fighting at middleweight, dropped down. Those guys at middleweight, they're too big. Now, he's in a weight class where, he gets to be one of those guys. So the question is, will he be able to take Wonderboy down and control him? I don't think so, champ.
Yeah, I think this fight comes down to how Joaquin approaches this fight. I am going with Joaquin Buckley. I do respect and like Wonderboy Thompson, but for this fight, I think Buckley is the pick. He has he's advantageous when it comes to grappling and wrestling. He has a background in wrestling. He was a high school wrestler, and he kind of polished and learned more of martial arts. He has great striking, but I don't think he's going to strike with Wonderboy. There's an interview that I showed you and that he had posted on his Instagram where he explains, like, I have nothing to prove with anybody. I'm not, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has rarely, if ever, lost a striking fight, right? He's able to move side to side, hit you from different angles, and rarely gets hit. He mentioned in that interview that he has nothing to prove, that he wants to slow the pace, especially at that elevation, which kind of leads me to believe that, okay, he's not going to come out. He's not going to push the pace. He's not going to come out with this flurry of punches like he normally does. He's going to take him down, utilize the wrestling, and make this a grappler's match. And the reason I say that is because if you look at Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's last 3 losses, who has he lost to? Shavkat, as you mentioned, Bilal, and Gilbert Burns. All grapplers, right? So I think Buckley's going to come in with that game plan. If he comes in with that game plan, he's going to be the pick. I think he shoots, controls the fight on the ground, and wins. That's my pick.
Is he him, though? Is he him? Because that, like, what you're describing is him. Like, if he beats Wonderboy, he's him. Like, it's going to be interesting what he gets next. That's what I'm saying. That's why, like, in this fight, we will learn if he's him, really. Like, same thing we spoke about Caio and Ken Denier, and he was him. And this fight is another him fight. So looking forward to seeing the outcome.
Yeah, and I like it when they put a fighter up, like when a fighter gets his test, right? Like, I love seeing it because it really tells me what they're made of and how they approach the fight. Like the Cow fight and the Jared Cannonier fight. Remember, during the fight, I was messaging you, why isn't he using his jiu-jitsu? Why isn't he taking to the ground? Like, why is he demonstrating his striking? But he wanted to make a point. He was successful. He had a solid game plan, and he won the fight. So I think this all comes down to how Buckley approaches the fight. If he tries to stand and bang with Stephen Thompson, I think it's going to be long, brev. Like our man Banter says, it's going to be long. But if he utilizes the grappling, takes him down, controls the fight, I think Buckley's going to win. Buckley's the pick. And if he does win, you know what's going to happen. You're going to get a phone call.
What's the confidence level? Okay, what's your confidence level?
Oh, confidence. I'm going to say mid. Mid? Yeah, mid. I'm not too high. I'm mid because it all comes down to how he approaches the fight. If he comes in and grapples, he's going to win the fight.
You don't think that muscle? Because, shout out to the Adonis over here. My man could go to Men's Health right now and do a 3-page spread right now, back, lats, and sideways. You don't think that muscle is going to pay? Like, and that's the thing, champ. Like, I haven't done the research of has Joaquin been like? How long has he been fighting in elevation? Was he there 3 weeks prior, a month, 2 weeks? Is he just getting in there?
And that's a good point you make. But I also think that he understands the elevation could be an issue, especially with the mass that he packs on. So that's why he's trying. That's why he stated he's going to slow down the fight. And I hope he approaches it with a solid game plan. My confidence level is at a mid if he does utilize the grappling and win via that. But if he tries to go out there and push the pace and tire out, Wonder Boy's going to just piece him up. And could be long, bro. But Buckley's the pick for me. Next up, we have a middleweight bout. Roman Dolidze, who's the underdog at a plus 142, up against Kevin Holland, who's the favorite at minus 170. Roman is 13-3. He is 3-5 in his last 5 bouts. He last won via unanimous decision against Anthony Smith. Holland is 3-5 as well, and won his last bout via armbar submission to Michael Oleksiejczuk. I don't even know how to pronounce that. He is so. Before we break down this fight and we give our picks, who are you going for? Because I know you have a soft spot for Kevin Holland. He's made you a lot of money in the past. Who are you going for this fight and why?
So, champ, Roman versus Holland. Roman is a bit slow for my taste. I'll be honest with you. Kevin Holland is quick, is explosive. This is taking it middleweight. Like, shout out to him. He beat Michael. Michael is a tough guy. He was fighting back in the day in light heavyweight. I just think, that 6 months ago, he fought Michael Venom Page. And like I told you, MVP was going to be too quick for Holland, too slick. But this is not what we're dealing with here, champ. Roman is a little bit slower. I'm going with Holland. I think I'm surprised he's not a 2-3 favorite, to be honest with you, champ. I'm going medium here. Yeah, if Roland grapples with him, it'd be interesting to see. Even Roman's conditioning, I just don't like his conditioning. And this is not a 5-round fight; it's a 3-round fight. Kevin does have the reach advantage, so he's going to be kind of throwing all those crazy ass stuff he throws. So it's going to be might catch him, might not. But if he tires out, Roman will hold and take him down.
And my issue with Roman is, I think he's the better grappler between the two. I think he's a good striker. He has good striking. But he doesn't utilize his grappling, and that's what kind of concerns me with him. Because in his fight against Anthony Smith, he only shot for 1 takedown. He didn't use what got him to the dance, is his grappling. And he does have a bit of issues with cardio, in my opinion. As you mentioned, he kind of starts slow and he kind of gasses out. How is he going to approach this fight? Because I like Roman to win this fight if he uses his grappling, but he hasn't. He didn't do it in his last fight. He was trying to strike with Anthony Smith. So
I was going to say, sorry, with Imavov was too quick for him. That was a majority decision, which some people had him winning, one judge. But if you're watching the fight, you're like, where is it? Where? Because all like Roman was trying to go for the takedown, trying to take him down, but the speed advantage, champ. The speed advantage here is going to be massive.
Yeah. I'm going to, for the sake of being the contrarian and going against you, I'm going to go for Roman. And I hope he utilizes his grappling. But at that elevation, with the issues with his cardio and the slow start, could be long, bro. So it's very low, but I'm going to go with Roman for this one.
Let's go.
Next up on the main card, we have a women's bantamweight bout. We have Kayla Harrison up against Ketlin Phenomenal Vieira. Now, Vieira is 3-5 in her last 5 bouts, coming off of a win to Pani Kianzad via unanimous decision. Harrison, on the other side, is 4-5, where she last beat Holly Holm via rear naked choke. For me, the pick is going to be Harrison. I think her significant advantage in judo and wrestling will prove to be too much. She's a monster. She's going to dominate, in my opinion, Ketlen Vieira. Now, Vieira is also a grappler. She likes to grapple, but I think up against an opponent like Harrison, she's going to be outmatched. And for that sole reason, I'm going to go with Harrison. She's the -800 favorite. The UFC likes her. Fans like her. She's a gold medalist. I think she's going to demonstrate how good she is in this fight and pull out a victory. Who do you got, brother?
The fact that, first and foremost, I think this is the first high, right? The first high conviction bet, if I'm not mistaken.
I would say for me, it's high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's going to be high too. I got to go with Kayla. I'm not looking to degen and do Vieira. I'm sorry. I'm not going to play that game. I just, Kayla is the future, the uncrowned queen. Her only loss have been to Pacheco, and Pacheco's been killing it. But champ, let's remind you of something. She probably faced Pacheco maybe 2 to 3 times. Like, there is something about facing a fighter over and over. Hence, boxing Garcia versus Haney. How many times have those guys fought, right?
Bunch.
Yeah, so you do learn about your opponent. I think that's what's happening. And listen, Pacheco's fighting Cyborg over there. Shout out to the PFL. But this is a different league. Kayla, 155er, going down again to 135, looking lean, looking big. The only question is, as we've been kind of hinting, is how is this massive woman going to be doing at elevation? That's champ. She has a lot of muscles, champ. And
that's the concern with a lot of fighters on this card, right? Is the muscle mass with the elevation. Are they going to be able to handle the cardio and endure those 5 rounds, those 5-minute rounds?
Yeah, I mean, look, and I mean, how does Kaylin win this? That's the real question. I mean, you can't. It's just hard because I can't even tell you how. Like, what? Just keep her at bay with her distance, knowing that Kayla's going to try to go for a judo, her clinch, judo throw, dominant, and her striking has gotten better. So I got to say, champ, we're going with the finish with this one. I'm going with the finish with this one, champ. You finish.
You think she's gonna finish her? You think she's gonna KO or submit?
I think submission. She gets it done.
Yeah, and this is essentially the #1 contender fight right here. 3 versus 2. This is an important fight for the division.
For Harris.
Yeah, because Vieira's #2. Yeah, so.
Yeah, but you're right.
And then Pena's fighting the champion, so this is the #1 contender fight, in my opinion.
But you're right. If she beats Harrison, the UFC will definitely give her.
Of course, I think next up, if Harrison or whoever wins this fight, in my opinion, is going to get a title shot next. And you bet your ass Harrison's licking her lips to go up against Pennington, right? She wants to. We'll get into that later. Next up, we have Josie Jr. Aldo up against Mario Bautista. Now, given their last 5 fights, well, first off, Jose Aldo is the underdog at a +145, whereas Mario Bautista is a -170 favorite. Bautista is 5-5 in his last 5 bouts, coming off of a win via unanimous decision against Ricky Simon. Aldo is 4-5, last winning against Jonathan Martinez via unanimous decision. Aldo ran the featherweight. I mean, we all know what Aldo brings, right? Like, if you've been watching him, maybe watching UFC, you know Aldo's a bad man, right? He ran the featherweight division. He has those vicious leg kicks. With his background in Muay Thai, makes him one of the best strikers ever, right, in the UFC. I mean, he beat people simply by kicking them down, right? Just taking them down with his vicious leg kicks. He has great takedown defense. He last lost to the current champion, Merab Dvalishvili, where he was never taken down in that fight. I think Merab shot for, I don't even know, I have to find the stat, but he shot for multiple takedowns in that fight.
16 takedowns.
He shot for 16 takedowns, and Aldo was able to defend them all. Aldo is that fucking guy, bro. Even at 38 years old, he's still fucking him. He moved down to bantamweight, and he's fucking doing work over there, right? Why is he the underdog? Who knows? Now you have Bautista, who's on a 6-fight win streak. He likes to push forward, and he throws strikes with volume. At this elevation, does he move forward? Does he try to set the pace, or does he slow it down and get in Aldo's face? He needs to be careful with engaging with Aldo, though, man, because his defense isn't all there. And Bautista, if you watch some of his fights, he does get hit. I don't know who I'm going to go with yet. I want to hear who you're going with.
Champ, you got to go with Aldo, champ. You got to go with
Aldo.
Aldo. Of course.
The underdog is easy money?
I don't think it's easy money, but I'll say this. I have him at a medium. How about that? Me
Okay.
and the people in Topology, there's 80% basically saying that we're going with Aldo on this one. 80% of us are going with Aldo. Make no mistake about the King of Rio, brother. Brother, listen. Let me tell you. You know where you're having doubt because you went back in the archives and you're probably watching Holloway beat the brakes out of Aldo. All right, brother. This ain't Holloway.
I haven't said who I'm going with yet, brother. What are you talking about?
Holloway, brother.
Who I'm going with.
This ain't Holloway, brother.
We talked about this earlier. If you look at who Aldo has lost to, I'm gonna read them here, right? Aldo has lost to Holloway twice. Bad man. He's lost to Volkanovski. Bad man. He lost to the current featherweight bantamweight champ, Merab. Bad man. He's lost to Conor McGregor. Bad man. He's lost to Peter Yan. Bad man. He lost to Morales. Bad man. Semi-bad.
And he won that fight too. That was a split decision. But yes, sure.
Okay. So those are the people that he has have given him L's on his illustrious career. Now, is Bautista that guy being on a 6-fight win streak, coming in, throwing vicious punches, precise strikes? Is he going to be the guy? Is he going to piece up Aldo? Is he going to grapple with Aldo? Is he going to strike with Aldo? Who knows? Aldo's takedown defense is among the best. It's among the best. So what is this guy's game plan coming in? I am going to go with Josie Aldo, the underdog. I'm going to bet the money on him. Let's fucking go.
We got to go in quick. I haven't placed my bets yet. The only bet I placed is Juliana Pena, and I'm kind of spoiling it right now. But I got to say, champ, this is the old guard facing the new guard.
And that's where I'm skeptical because if you look at all my bets, I always like when they give the young buck a challenge, right? Like, listen, this is your shot. Don't mess it up. We did it with Kyle, right? We did it with Kyle. We did it with Sean Brady. And I was successful in those.
Why don't you go here?
You know what?
Take a chance at the kid.
Okay, we'll do this. I want Aldo to win, but I'm going to go with homeboy over here, Bautista.
Okay, well, there you go.
Okay, just to add a little bit of spice to this thing, I'm going to go with Bautista. He's on a 6-fight win streak. Let's see if he's that guy. Let's see if he's him. If he's not,
congratulate you. Can I say something? I congratulate you. You are going with the 20% of Topology.
Listen, brother, I'm an outlier. I'm an outlier, baby. It's all good. I'm an outlier. It's gonna look crazy because I just said I'm going with the fucking guy, Josie Aldo, and I switched up like that.
At least I stood with Stephen Thompson and I doubled. It's okay, champ. Listen, Josie's gonna prove to you that age really doesn't matter for him. My man literally listen, you imagine retiring to Merab, knowing now what Merab has become. Do you imagine the fire he has ignited in himself?
Yeah.
He could have been gone. He could have been gone a long time, but he didn't, champ, because he's been whooping ass. And even his last fight, because I think for his last fight against Jonathan Martinez, he was also Jonathan was the favorite, if I'm not mistaken. And it was the young cat versus the old cat. Is it washed up? And Aldo just came in and performed. And Jonathan Martinez was a top 15 fighter. So, yeah, we'll see what this cat is. But it's another him. Is he him? Because he is a gatekeeper, champ. Like, you can kind of call it that way. He's just not letting you guys in that top 15.
We'll see what happens, man. For the sake of just being different, I'm going to go with Bautista, but I do want Aldo to win. So I want to put that out there, guys. I'm not crazy. Co-maining UFC 307, we have a women's bantamweight title bout. We have Rocky Pennington up against Juliana, the Venezuelan vixen, Pena. Looking at their last 5 fights, Pennington is 5-5 in her last 5 fights. She last won against Mayra Bueno Silva via unanimous decision. Pena is 3-5 in her last 5 bouts and last lost to Amanda Nunes via unanimous decision. These two have a rocky history. They were both on Tough Enough season 18, and that's where they say their feud began, right? I don't know if you saw the promo where Pena stated that Raquel is fake and she's been waiting to have this fight for years. So I think, whether you think this stylistically, Pennington is a boring fighter, she likes to, push people up against the cage and grapple them and control the fight via that way. She hasn't, that style of fighting hasn't been defeated, right? So I think Pennington will win based off of the grappling alone. She will win. She will control the opponent, especially at that, at that elevation. She's going to look to slow the fight down and take her down and just control her that way. Pena, little fun fact, she hasn't fought in 2 years since she's lost to Amanda Nunes. And if you look at the first time, if you're going to argue like, oh, well, she beat Amanda Nunes. Yeah, Amanda Nunes came back and what happened?
You tell me. You're acting like I don't know. Come on now.
What
happened. You know what happened. The superior fighter won. But listen, you got to give it back to me. I will be going with Juliana Pena. And my confidence is medium on this one. Let me tell you, champ. Let me tell you something. I like Pennington, but I didn't like what I saw in Toronto live. A bunch of Canadians being drunk. F Trudeau. I was looking at it. I was like, what is going on here? Champ, Silva, that was Silva's fight to take. But what happened, Silva was so fatigued. Shout out to the UFC. The boys, the trolls, they're looking at that fight and it's like, yo, why is there only 35,000 views on this fight? Yeah, because it wasn't an entertaining fight. It was a gruesome fight. Raquel got it done. However, I think Juliana's gonna have more conditioning, better cardio. Okay. I think that's what's gonna happen here. And look, champ, let's be honest. And I told you this. That Amanda Nunes fight versus Juliana Pena, that was a fluke. I don't know how you could get that lucky. I like Juliana, but the reality is, Nunes got emotional because it was like, is this inferior touching me? And I think that's what halted her at the end. But then look what happened in the rematch. She understood the mission, right? She didn't get emotional with the jab. She mixed it up. So yeah, I will be going with Juliana. I just like Juliana's conditioning a little bit more.
Okay.
The younger fighter by 9 months, but it's really the conditioning, champ. I liked what I saw in the championship fight against Amanda Nunes versus what I saw Raquel put on Silva in their championship fight. That's really what it comes down to.
Okay, so you're going with Pena. So we'll see what happens, man. I think, if Raquel wins, I think the fight to make is her and Harrison. I mentioned it earlier. I want Harrison to just go in there and beat her the way she's beat all her opponents, right? I think that'll be kind of like a bittersweet thing to see. But yeah, I'm going to go with Pennington. I think her style, whether you like it or not, has been successful. And we'll see what happens. We have come to our main event. If you made it this far, please do me a favor. Like, subscribe, comment, show some love. We have our light heavyweight championship bout between Alex Poatan Pereira up against Khalil, the war horse Rountree. Now, Alex Pereira is the heavy favorite at minus 455, whereas Rountree is at a plus 350. This is Pereira's 4th time fighting this year. I had the honor and the privilege to see him at 303 and to see him at 300, where he knocked out Jamal Hill and he knocked out Jiri Prochazka. You as well saw him in New York earlier in the year, correct?
Oh, yeah, champ. It was great.
Now, Given their records, Pereira's 4-5 in his last 5 bouts. He's coming off a KO, TKO, head kick win against Yuri Prochazka at UFC 303, as I just mentioned. Rountree is 5-5 in his last 5 bouts. He last beat Anthony Smith via KO, TKO with an uppercut. Now, for me, it's very simple. Alex Pereira is currently in his bag. He has that vicious left hook, the touch of death, you might say. He just, for whatever reason, he hits people and they just go into another dimension. They're gone. They're out of there. I think he also has the height advantage at 6'5". Kickboxer versus Muay Thai. Khalil Rountree never or rarely, if ever, has shot for a takedown. I'm interested to see if in this fight, Alex Pereira entertains the idea of taking him down. I mean, he does train with Glover. Do you think in the first round he takes him down, kind of uses the elevation to his advantage, tires out Khalil, and in the second round hits him with that vicious left hook? That's a possibility. I think we could see that. I don't know. I'm going with Alex Pereira to win this fight. He is the pick. He's a bad man. Who do you got for Price Guy?
This is a very shocking fight. Nobody expected this, especially after Khalil had tested positive for steroids.
Number 8. Why does the number 8 get a title fight? Why?
I mean, we got to go to planning at the end of the day, right? Like the thing is, Alex is a very active fighter, and like brother, like also, Chan, let me correct you. My man's 4-5. You know, you probably forgot. You know, he got knocked out by Izzy, Chan.
That's what I said. I said he's 4-5.
Okay, we'll go back. It could have been me. We're gonna go back. Sorry, Chan.
I said he's 4-5, and Rountree is 5-5.
I could go back. Okay, that might have been it. But I'll say this, Chan. He should. I was gonna say he should have been 5-5.
Yeah, he should have.
The thing what happened was he got Izzy against the fence. Izzy was playing possum, and Pereira likes to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's just so powerful, he knows. And Izzy caught him 2 times, and that was a wrap. We wrote an article on this. It was very intriguing. A couple key different things. Both fighters massive, but I think Khalil has more muscle. Khalil going into Colorado, I have to investigate how much time he's been there, because brother, there will be a lot of huff and puff by Khalil. That's what I'm saying. Like it might get to the point where if Pereira starts going for the body, going for the teeth, Pereira has the reach advantage. You got to remember it's an 80 reach advantage just on length, and then he's 6'4", right? The other thing too, examining. Because that's what makes Pereira so great. His last 4 fights have been spectacular. But listen, Khalil doesn't like to check kicks. If you look at Khalil's fight, he doesn't like to check kicks. Out of his 5, Khalil, he had 1 split decision against Justin Jacoby. That was pretty close. I don't know if you got to see, right? And I think the stats, I broke it down. Dustin Jacoby ended up landing 122 strikes. Khalil landed 80. And, you know, the debate was, well, I landed the power punches. True, but it was a close match against a former kickboxer, right? I don't think Jacoby was at the level of Pereira. Pereira is in a whole different elite.
He's in his bag right now, man. He's in his bag right now.
Yeah, he's feeling himself, brother. He's in a corner right now, feeling himself. Shout out to Connecticut. You have that animal over there. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the second time Pereira goes to Salt Lake City. Do you not think he learned from his mistake? Because the mistake is, again, John Blachowicz, right? His first title, you know, haven't fought at light heavyweight. Light heavyweight went up. I just think, you know, he wasn't adjusted to that weight. The altitude was an issue. The grappling as well, because John just grappled. Let's be honest, John went for the takedown. But I don't see Khalil doing that, brother. I don't see Khalil going for the takedown.
No.
One of the best quotes today was Alex saying, "Oh, okay, well, let's make a wager." He was basically trying to say, put half your purse that you're not going to take me down once I hit you. He said that. So, I mean, champ, what do you do? It's the reach, the aura,
and no disrespect to Khalil Rountree, he is a good striker. He has some power behind his shots, but he's going to have to get close to Pereira in order to inflict some damage. And Pereira manages the distance well. I mean, if you look at his fight against Jamal Hill, when he got the groin kick, right? When he got the kick to the groin, he didn't want the ref to intervene because he had already figured out the distance. That's what he said in an interview after. I didn't want us to separate because I had already figured out the distance. And what happened after the fact? He slapped him. So Khalil, despite him being a good striker, I think he's going to have to get in close, but will he be able to get in close? Will he be able to get in close against Pereira?
You can't let him, champ. You can't let and the thing is, if you let Khalil goes in close with the champ, his probabilities of finishing a fight increase. I'm sorry. But Pereira's not going to do that. Like, the thing is, if you study Khalil, Khalil has a couple different styles. He has a blitz style where he kind of level changes and he's just kind of waiting. Very looping hooks, quick, explosive. He has another one where it's just like more boxing approach where he'll kind of put that lead leg. He's also a southpaw, by the way. He'll put that lead leg forward and will kind of use his body to whip a jab. I don't like his hand. His right hand, he likes to fight that very slow. And against a guy like Pereira, like, let's face it, champ. Shout out to Sean Strickland, one of the best, let's say boxer. He has good boxing fundamentals, but even with the striking defense, fighters that drop that hand against Pereira have a tough night. So I got to go with Pereira at a high. And I said before, there's a lot of things that are being worked on behind the scenes that if Pereira loses are not going to unfold. So looking forward to seeing Pereira Saturday night. But like I said, don't give the benefit of the doubt to Khalil Rountree. If you're a D-gen, if you want to bet, you could put a little bit of money on because, like, champ, right now it was a minus 445. He jumped to like a minus 550 right now. He's high.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going with Pereira. I would love for him to just flip the script and just shoot for a takedown. We have seen him do it in the past. Against Izzy, he shot for takedowns, right? As the fight progressed. I don't think this fight's going to be long. I don't think it's going to go the 5 rounds. I think that there will be a finish, and I think it's going to come at the hands of Pereira. He's going to finish Rountree, as he does with all his opponents right now. He's in his bag, as I said earlier. But I for some reason, I don't know why, I want him to go for a takedown. I think he's going to shoot for a takedown. Just take him down and tire him out in the second round, hit him with that touch of death. But we'll see what happens.
But Jam, he needs to be very, very careful because Khalil, like, and that's the other thing too. Like, if he shoots for a takedown, you better make sure that you land it, because if you not land it, Khalil's nasty, bro. Like, he's one of the only fighters that will kick to the bottom. Like, he'll do weird stuff on the ground. He'll do weird fights. So, I mean, listen, and I was going to say Khalil isn't a good camp. Syndicate MMA. What is the recommendation? Like, what, because you just can't tell your fighter chaos. Beat chaos with fire. No, what are you telling them? Like, what? So it's going to be interesting the approach they take.
Yes. Yeah. So Alex Pereira is the pick for myself and the floor price guy. If everything goes well and he does pull out the win, the opportunities and the stories that could play out after the fact are endless, right? He can go down to middleweight and fight Duplessis, as he's teased that before, right? He could fight what's this guy's name again? I always have trouble pronouncing it.
Ankalov.
He could fight Ankalov, right?
Ankalov
get that.
Wasn't ready, yeah. But you were talking about it. I don't think he's ducking him. I just think Ankalov hasn't been ready. It's just like, bro,
no one's saying he's ducking him. I think Ankalov alluded to him ducking him, right? Like, there was some back and forth that they had on Twitter, and Alex simply said, "It's not a matter of me ducking with him. He's just a boring fighter. It's not my fault that no one wants to see that type of fight." So I think he, I don't know, he has a lot of opportunity. There's the John Jones tease that they have as well. Is he going to fight John Jones? There's the boxing tease that he wants to get into boxing. He has been teasing that he's boxing. So who knows? A lot of opportunities for Pereira. I think he's had a great career since he's entered the UFC, and he's one of the most active fighters. I think you mentioned this earlier, or you mentioned it off screen. Him and Kevin Holland have had the most active on the card, right? How many appearances have been on this year?
I think in the past 2 years, or 2.5, Kevin has had 11, followed by Alex with 10.
Yeah, so there you have it. I mean, he's active. He's in his bag right now, and he's one of the UFC's most active champs. This is his third title defense. Third title defense. So
That's it, champ.
Pereira is the pick. We'll leave it at that. There you have it. Our full UFC 307 analysis, breakdown, prediction, picks, opinions. I'm Roy. Once again, we're combat sports guys. I am grateful for you, Floor Price Guy, the Dominican bad man. Thank you for taking the time to record this today. We'll see how we do. Here are our picks. Tell us in the comments, are we wrong? Are we right? We've been pretty good so far. We'll see how this card plays out. Floor Price Guy, do you have any parting words for the people?
I mean, this is going to be no shout out to the people. Subscribe, like, share. It's going to be interesting because we've had a lot of similar picks, but then either one of us is going to flop this fight. Let's be very honest with each other. We have a lot of there are a lot of ways things could go in this fight, right? Mm-hmm. Old guard, new guard. We're going to find out, champ, but it's always going to be a pleasure. Subscribe to us. Remember to go check out the X account, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, and then we will be back with the UFC Fight Night Royval versus Tyra. And then after, we have UFC 308, Potieria versus Holloway. It's going to be a banger of a card. We'll see what happens. Well, there is a fight night in between, but I can't wait for that card. See you guys later. Peace out.